Welcome to Bunniphish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunniphish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube, and Patreon. Today is Thursday, the 9th of August, 2018, and this is episode 19. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. Last week I recorded this way straight to YouTube, so I'm going to try it again this week because there were no complaints and, again, no laptop access. So hopefully this works out. If you have any comments, please leave them below. And the kids have been told that I'm recording, so they're also supposed to be being quiet, but they're being quite loud. I don't know if you can hear them. Hopefully it's not distracting. I did get a comment last week that it didn't distract the person who commented, so there's that. I'm highly distracted by my daughter. She's being very, very loud this morning, like atypically loud for her. Anyway, let's talk about some knit-alongs that we have going on. The Summer Shorties, which is for any sock that you finish, ends on August 15th. So that's just under a week away. And then a week from today starts a new knit-along, which is going to be the Deja Vu knit-along. So the idea for that is that you make anything that you've already made before. I do not have the thread up for that in the Ravelry group. I am hopeful that I'll get to it today. Today's going to be a very busy day, but I'm hoping to get to the library and get that taken care of today. If not, I will get it up sometime next week. We are going out of town for the week, so can't do it over the weekend. So thank you for coming, and if you're a regular viewer, thank you for your feedback. Thank you for coming back. If you're new, thank you for being here. I don't normally say that. I just think it. See, the problem is I'm really bad with small talk. I just don't like small talk at all. So I don't generally small talk. But I don't want you guys to think that I don't appreciate you being here, because I so much do. I love our community, so thank you for that. A lot of ums today. I think I worse now because I know that I can't edit it out. So subconsciously, that's a thing. I do have a couple of finished objects, so let's start there. I finished the Tyne Hat, and since I have it in my hand, you know what that means? I didn't go to the post office on Tuesday like I thought I was going to because other things came up, but that's one of the things on the list to do today. So everything else is packaged. Prize winners who have contacted me, your stuff is packaged. I just have to go to the post office. So here is the Tyne Hat, which is my design. It's got, yes, you can see, okay, cables and texture, and then a main body texture. The yarn that I used for this is Nooch Fiber in the Central Park Fingering, which is a singles base. And the colorway is Stormy. It's a one-off color that they had a long time ago. This was a precious skein. I'm sending this off to my friend who is undergoing chemo right now. So I just love this hat and the pattern and everything about this. I will definitely be deja vuing this pattern coming soon. I'm not going to try it on because I have this bun going on, and also it's hot here again. So you'll just have to take my word that it fits. I tried it on before I blocked it, and it fit okay, and then I blocked it, so it should fit even better. What else can I tell you? This is where I was last week. So I was just barely shy of the crown decreases last week, so decreased out. That's what the crown decreases look like. And I knit this using US 1s for the brim and then US 3s for the main body, which is 2.25 and 3.25. I have also the second Ridgeback sock. So last week I was right here. It just gotten through the cuff, and then I finished the whole sock because these socks knit up so fast. I so love this pattern. I know I said that last week. I'm going to say it again. I think they look so cool and they knit up so quickly. So the yarn that I used for this, the main color is Sadie's yarn, Knitter's Nightmare, on the Boogeyman base, which is a 75-25. The colorway is Perfect, Purrfect. So I love that. And then this yarn is FON Dye, who is now Leafy Yarns on Instagram. Leaf Yarns. It was a couple episodes back. I put it at the bottom of the screen. So if you have questions about that, drop it below and remind me to let you know who that is. But it is a merino tencel blend. So the tencel gives it the same kind of stability that nylon does, but it's a natural fiber instead of a plastic fiber. I don't think I have anything else to say about these socks, except that you'll be seeing more of this pattern coming up. So yeah, I am really pleased with that, and I knew I was going to have these finished this week. So I have a work in progress from last week, and then I have 3 new works in progress. Before I talk about those, I did work on the beaded garland. I added like 2 beads. It's not worth pulling out to show you. I've worked on the squares and strips for Jenna, but again, like, not enough progress to pull out and show you. So next week I'll show you those. This week I have the Cordell socks that I was working on, and I am in love with how these are working up. Look how beautiful that is. So I am using mini skeins from Yarn Geek Fibers. Right? Now I'm second guessing myself. Yes, Yarn Geek Fibers mini skeins. And I have 8 of them that I'll be putting into these socks. 2 of them I bought, and 6 of them were gifts from Haley. So that was really loud. So last week I was right here, just started the toe, didn't really know what I was going to do with these socks, and now I have 3 colors. So the Yarn Geek Fibers, these ones are so far in my sock are all named after women in the sciences. That's not true for all of these, I don't think, but let me tell you what the names are and who they are. So this gray is May C. Jemison, and she is an American engineer. She's 61 years old, and she was the first African-American woman in space. And then this purpley color right here is Frances Glessner Lee. She lived from 1878 to 1962. She was a medical doctor, and she created the Nutshell Studies of Unexplained Death, which are 20 true crime dioramas, 18 of which are still used to help teach forensic detectives. So that's pretty amazing. And then this is my favorite color so far. It might be my favorite color in the sock. Just look at how cool that looks. Oh, this is one of the ones that I picked up. Which does not mean that they're better or worse than the ones Haley picked up, but I love this colorway, and I didn't know who the person was when I picked up the colorway. But I love this colorway, and I kind of want everything made out of it. It's kind of my perfect color, which is a gray base with rainbow. You know that I love 716 knit petrified hamsters. That's like one of my favorite colorways ever. This is similar-ish to that, completely different, but like that sort of idea. And then you'll actually see another color like that in my works in progress. So this is Nizia Mahmood. I listened to her say her own name last night, and I still am struggling to say it, so I apologize. But she is a rock star, basically. Not an actual rock star, but like a life rock star. She is a rocket scientist, a martial artist, a model, a short story writer, a poet, and an actor. What? She's also under 30. Yeah, let that sink in. That's pretty amazing. So yes, I love this colorway. I love these socks. I'm considering writing up the pattern for these, which would mean I would need test knitters. I don't know if there would be any interest for something like this, like specifically a mini skein project with some yardage breakdowns and things like that. So let me know if you'd be interested in that, and I can write that up and find test knitters. But I am loving these socks. They're super simple. It's all stockinette stitch. It's just playing with stripes and stripe widths and things like that. I'm super in love with these socks. I can't wait. They're for me. I can't wait to have them for me. I don't knit a ton of things for myself, so I mean, definitely less than 50% of the things I knit are for me. So when I do make something for myself, I feel like super excited about it. Oh, I love those so much. Okay, so the rest are new cast-ons. First up is a hat design. I want to do another collection. I've already sketched out the 3 hats for the collection. So I'm going to do another collection like the Helicoid Volume 1. It's going to be Helicoid Volume 2 hats, and it is also going to be using partial skeins of yarn. I don't think I'm going to use all the same weight for the hats. Sorry, I gotta shift. I'm on the floor. This first one is DK weight. I'm using Leading Men Fiber Arts in their dramaturg base. Fun information for those of you who don't know theater. Dramaturg is the person who does all of the research surrounding the play and the concepts, and if the director wants to try something new with concepts, oh, sorry, normally I would edit that out. They're the ones who research all of that information to share it with the company. Anyway, the yarn colorway is Kaleidoscope, and it's kind of that like gray-y base with tons of pops of color. So this is what I have so far. This is the brim. I'm knitting it on US 6 needles, which I don't know the millimeters off the top of my head. I think it's 4.0. And I think I like the fabric that it's giving me, but I won't know until it's a little bit bigger and I can actually try it on and like wear a few inches around my head for a little while to see if it fits. So this might all get frogged. I don't know. I looked up several different hat patterns and what they did and how they did it. This is what I went with. We'll see if it gets frogged next week, but it's just the brim. I'm about to start the magic of Intarsia in the Round later today, so we'll see how that goes. I will be looking for test knitters for a DK weight hat, and this is my second color. This is also Dramaturg from Leading Men Fiber Arts. I did a Measure in Love out of this for a booth sample for them, so I have this leftovers, and I did that way back in Kentucky. So this is a pretty, not a super old scrap, but a pretty old scrap. So this is going to be with this, and I think it's going to be gorgeous. And then I might do a second sample using this. We'll see. Depends on how much yardage it uses. But it's not going to take a lot of yarn for the contrast color. What else do I have to say about this hat? I don't know. I'm really excited to be starting this concept. I slept poorly a couple nights ago. I didn't go to sleep until 4 a.m. and then I woke up before 8 a.m. And while I couldn't sleep, I was watching, I think I was watching the Crazy Sock Lady, some old episodes, and she was talking about designing, and then all of a sudden my brain was like bing, 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 because I knew I wanted to do a hat collection, but I didn't, and I knew I wanted it to be in Target in the round, but nothing had coalesced into pattern ideas. And then all of a sudden I had all 3 of my pattern ideas with different yarn weights, a little bit of math. So yeah, that's a thing that happened, and I'll be looking for test knitters soon. Maybe as early as next week, Monday. We'll see. If I can get to the library on Monday to type things up. So that is this hat, and let me tell you a little bit about project bags, because I haven't done that in a while, and I love my project bags. This is my my whale bag from Girl Cave Bags, and I love it so much. It is perfect for hats and socks, and I've carried around modular projects in there. I forgot my modular project again. It's in the car. No modular check-in this week again. I'm really sorry. I am super excited to show you the next thing, which is the granny stripe blanket. So next week I'll show you. And then the Cordell socks are being kept in this. I'm feeling very Christmassy right now. I watched a bunch of Vlogmas videos in the past week, a bunch, and we watched Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer last night, so I pulled out this buffalo plaid. Is this buffalo plaid? Am I saying that wrong? No, I'm second guessing myself. This plaid bag that is actually a toiletry case from Target, and I also super love it for socks. These fit perfectly inside there. The zipper's really good. The handle did come off on one side, but on this side, but I just sewed around the button, so unless you're looking you can't tell. Next up, I'm gonna cough, just so you know. Excuse me. Oh, and we might be invaded by Mara. She's calling for me and crying. She's fine. She's a drama llama. So next up, I have my next pair of Ridgeback socks, which I am working toe up. The pattern is written cuff down, but if you follow me on Instagram, I did some solar dyeing with my kids and my niece and nephew, one of my nephews, one of her brothers, I should say. I have multiple nieces too, but the ones who live close to me, one niece, one nephew, my 2 kids, and then my sister took my other nephew's yarn because she wanted things dyed. And actually, if you'll excuse my reach, I'll grab those really quick. Da-da-da-da. So these are the 3 that I don't have caked up yet. This is going to be for my sister. This is hers. And this is my niece's. My sister's is kind of a speckly space dye sort of deal. My niece's is a ombre effect, but not a long ombre, like short little color bursts. She put 1/3 of the yarn. It's a 2-yard hank, so she put 1/3 of that in the dye, and then she put the next 1/3 in, and then the last 1/3 just got very lightly colored. It's almost not dyed at all. But those are hers. And then this is my favorite skein. This is Mara's, and the way that we dyed this one is that we put the yarn in a hank, a very tight hank, and then just dyed the top half of it. this was all done with Kool-Aid at the beach, solar dyeing in Tupperware containers. So this one's my favorite. I'm probably going to knit it last because it's my favorite. That gets to be my prize for knitting all of the Christmas socks for the kids. For the, well, let me talk about this one first then. For the younger kids, I am going to be making tube socks. And so this is in my Knit One Crochet 2 bag. Haley, let me know if I'm wrong. Pop it in the notes below if I'm wrong. I need to put a piece of paper in here that says what it is. Someone remind me. Probably Haley. Haley, remind me to put a scrap of paper with the name in this bag. So this is going to be a tube sock. Well, kind of a tube sock. I am going to be doing something similar to the Afterthought Everything sock. I'm not using a pattern. I know how to make socks. I know the general concept. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit this as a tube, and then when I get to the end of knitting this sock, I'm going to do the toe instead of doing another cuff, because I much prefer toes that have decreases in them than increases. I just like the way they look better. So I'm going to do that, and then I will cut my knitting in half. I've never done a true cut in heel or anything like that, but I have done surgery on things before where you cut in, so I'm pretty comfortable cutting my knitting. And this is getting all bunched up. So I'll be cutting the tube in half and then knitting the toe. But then I think I'm going to cast on the cuff and then graft it to the other tube so that the cast-ons are the same. I don't really like binding off toe-up socks. I just don't like to do it. I don't like the way they fit and stuff. So anyway, this is for my son. He is almost 10, and I'm knitting this 56 stitches. I did 2x2 rib. I did 30 rounds of that using Premier Serenity sock in the charcoal colorway. I have a bajillion skeins of this in my stash because I like using it for blanket edgings and stuff. And also contrast heels, toes, cuffs. And it's pretty inexpensive, especially if you use 40% off coupons when you go to Joann's. But anyway, yeah, that's the cuff. And then the yarn for the body is what he dyed. And it is this beautiful blue space dyed irregular spaces of color yarn. I'm really interested to see how this works up. I think one sock is going to be more white than the other just because of how it was dyed, but he will like them and he will wear them. The reason why I did 30 rounds for the cuff is because this is was only a 50 gram mini skein, and then I wanted to put a square of it in my personal scrappy blanket, so I used 6 or 7 grams. And my son will wear shorter socks, but the socks that he wears the most are knee-high socks. So I want to make this not as tall as possible, but taller, which means I'm not going to do my normal toe, which is kind of a very shallow wedge. I'm going to do a longer toe for him. I'm not going to put heels in these, so it's just going to be cutting in the toe and cuff. But I just want something that I can just knit forever in the round and not have to think about it. This weekend we're going out of town, so I want something easy for when I'm not sitting at home. I don't know what the plans are this weekend, so I wanted something for that. Tonight we're going to a movie in the park. Today we are going to the post office, so we'll probably be waiting. So I just have a pretty big call right now for easy non-brain knitting. The hat will be my brain knitting for this week, even though it's kind of mindless. but this is some non-brain knitting. All of my socks are on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. What else about these socks? Anything? It's 56 stitches because I could probably even make them tighter than that, but I want him to be able to grow into them. So yeah, I want them to be able to fit for a while, which is why I'm not putting in a heel and why I'm making them a kind of bigger circumference. I use 60 stitches for me, for frame of reference. And then the last work in progress I have is, hey, Mar, you're being very loud. Is also worked with Premier Serenity Sock in the black colorway, and the yarn that we dyed is also Premier Serenity Sock because that's what Joanne sells. This was dyed with red Kool-Aid, so it's more of a, it's also kind of, it's a variegated red. It's got a little bit of depth to the color. It's got some white in there. My nephew didn't actually want to dye his yarn, so I just dyed it, and I told him he gets what he gets. And he gets no say. So I have both toes started. These are the Ridgeback Socks, again, because I'm in love with that pattern. But I am working them toe up for a couple different reasons. The first is, again, I want mindless knitting in case I need mindless knitting. This for the next several days. So the foot on the Ridgeback is mindless. So I'll have that. And then I'm working them in tandem because I only have this 50-gram ball of yarn. And he has feet the same size as mine. So he just turned 13, which means he's going to outgrow these socks. But I'm making Ridgeback socks in my size so that when he outgrows them, they can be for me. So that's part of the reason why I'm working them toe up, is so that I can have mindless knitting. But also, I only have this 50-gram ball, so I will work up the foot and then pop in the heel, which is where the contrast color starts. And then I will work the legs in tandem so that I can maximize this yarn usage. That way, if I run out at some point during the cuff, if I get to this 5-inch length, 5.5 inches, I think, for the leg and cuff, if I get that far with this yarn, cool. It'll be pretty close if I do. But if I don't, then instead of doing the cuff with the two colors, I'll just do a black cuff. So that's why I'm doing it that way. Yeah, I started my 3 new projects yesterday just so that they would be started for this weekend for all of the running around that we're going to be doing in the next couple days. Did I say we're going to the movie on Sunday? So I needed something that I could work on in the movies, even. Movie tonight. Yeah. That's all I have for you this week because I forgot my my blanket. So I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string. If you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comments below on YouTube. I'm finding that that's a really easy way for me to communicate. It's much easier than the Ravelry group because Ravelry has an okay interface for mobile devices, but it's not great. So, and YouTube just tells me when I get a comment so I can talk to you immediately. Yeah, I think that's everything I have, and I will see you next week. Bye!